Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek-A-Day. Just finished watching the latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, the next to last episode, not only of the season, but of the series. And I am glad I stayed off social media enough to not have this particular episode spoiled for me, because within the first 3 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to end up being my favorite episode of this entire series. We open with our usual gang hanging out and enjoying a little bit of downtime as Boimler ponders what adventures could his transporter clone be on had he not perished. And as he is wondering about that, we find out that he has not perished. He was secreted away by Section 31 and put in charge of a mission to move throughout the multiverse and try and close these rifts leading to alternate Star Trek timelines. And he is in charge of a Defiant class ship, the Anaximander. So already right there, he's in charge of a Defiant class ship, and his crew includes T'Pol. Holy cow, T'Pol. Jolene is back as T'Pol. Amazing. Curzon Dax, an alternate reality Garrick, who is the ship's doctor, who is helped by his emergency medical hologram husband, based on Julian Bashir, and then a Harry Kim pops up. This is all by the 2 minute and 50-something second mark. I am so excited because this is what I really like about Lower Decks. It's not the same big dramatic next Star Trek series in line, something like the original series moving into Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, whatever. To me, it is a very fun, comedic companion series to the core of Star Trek, and has a lot of amazing Star Trek moments within its storytelling. It can, at times, feel like a great Star Trek series in its own right, but I think what works best as this kind of silly, sometimes farcical, animated series is that it is a real heartfelt celebration of a lot of Star Trek, a lot of in-jokes, a lot of references, and just within these first few minutes, it really encompasses that element of the show in a way that ties into an ongoing story, rather than just being a bunch of random references to in-jokes and things within the fandom for just the sake of the comedic effect. It actually has some sort of relevance to a plot structure. And just beginning, I'm already talking about this episode and how much I like it, and this is just the intro, really. They did such a good job of encompassing all those elements, and again, it's so funny. All the different things that people wanted to see or hear with certain characters, or in jokes within long-time fans, and it's really great. And even dropping little hints about T'Pol having been married to Trip for decades, and she's an expert on human emotion. The Garrick and Bashir married couple from an alternate universe. Come on. This is such a funny, hilarious love letter to Star Trek. The one thing I did know, I think everyone did since it was part of the marketing as the season came up, was that we were going to see Harry Kim, of course, and Garrett Wang. It was great seeing him come back, and he was really funny on the ship that is largely crewed by multiple Harry Kims from many different multiverses. Really funny, worked well, and I like how even from the very beginning they poke fun at how silly and contrived and just overused this whole multiverse concept is. At one point, Boimler says something along the lines of multiverse concept being a lazy derivative remix, and it's particularly funny in the current state of media that we're in, where so many franchises are digging into this multiverse concept to very lazily pull off returning characters, different story ideas, to kind of wipe the slate when they make mistakes, to retcon things. It is probably my least favorite anchor point concept for a narrative, and it's just fun to see them make fun of that while also still being the main issue of this season. And the fact that all but one of the Harry Kims are still ensigns, it's just fantastic. Dig into a lot of the favorite jokes within the fandom. A timid alternate mariner who is a genius engineer finds a way to track the ship that has been causing all these rifts, and while they encounter the ship, they end up, thanks to Curzon Dax allowing aggression to override reason, ends up damaging their ship as well as the ship they are tracking, and they are both forced to land on a swampy planet where they are quickly captured, and we get another surprise character cameo with Lily Sloan. Very unexpected. And we find out that it is not the case, so we have a supervillain of the series, merely a misunderstanding, and Garrick saves the day, only for one of the ships to be stolen by all the Harry Kims who don't want to go back to their respective universes and be the constantly disrespected forever ensigns. The friendship of T'Pol and Curzon, I think, was well portrayed for an episode that's less than 30 minutes long. I think it came across well, and the passing on of the Katra of the Dax symbiote to T'Pol, the crazed Lieutenant Harry Kim, setting off a disaster that sets up our final episode of the season. It all came together in a very satisfactory conclusion to this one story, and I think sets up for a very explosive series finale that I'm looking forward to. This was a great episode. I mean, so far I've been enjoying Season 5, but overall it might be on par with Season 1 as my least favorite. But this episode in particular, I think, might be my favorite individual episode in the entire series. I think it dethrones that Deep Space Nine episode. And both of them do something similar where they bring back locations or characters on screen that we really thought we would never see again, and at least getting them even in this very silly comedic light through this animated series is still a fun throwback and better than not seeing them at all, and using the multiverse element within this story to tell these different lives of these characters and bring back characters that we otherwise normally wouldn't be able to see was a great comedic effect of getting a lot of affection for a lot of the characters and stories that fans have been talking about for years. So overall, I felt that they packed a lot into an episode that, again, is just shy of half an hour, and it still moved at a fast pace. Felt like the comedic writing was spot on. To me, overall, this is probably the best episode they've ever done, and I cannot wait to see what's in store for the finale.